Welcome to this little tutorial on how to modify your camera, especially the Nikon D5500 for astrophotography. You can use this tutorial also for the Nikon 5300 or 200 or 600 because they're quite similar in how they're built. And what we are going to do is we are going to remove the infrared filter. And you can search for tons of videos about this issue, whether you should do it or not. I just want to say that, first of all, you will lose your warranty. Second thing is that you may lose your autofocus. Some users have reported this issue, that when they removed the infrared filter, they lost their autofocus capabilities. I didn't lose them when I did this once, but I had slightly a back focus, so that means that if I focused, for example, on this front shield Nikon, the focus was laying around here, back there. So that was kind of a problem I had. But other than that, you also have to watch out that you don't break anything in there, and it's quite risky. You have to know what you're doing, and you also have to have a clean table. So first of all, you don't want to have dust in there. So you don't want to have dust on your sensor or anything else in there. And second of all, you want to sort your screws and everything properly so that you know where what belongs to. You have this video as a guide, but still, it's better to keep a good track of what belongs where. Before we go into detail about how to modify your camera, I just want to show you some photos of how photos look like when the camera was modded. And it's kind of fixable. Like, for example, this image comes out of camera like this purplish, but you can kind of adjust it and then it looks like this. And you can see that the colors are still kind of weird, but it's okay. Also, in this picture of this little candle, you can see that the colors are still not correct enough to be the real colors. And also you can see that there's a flare, a huge lens flare, which is from the infrared light actually. And that's another issue you will have to deal with hard things, that there will be a big source of infrared light. More problems start to occur when you have like different light sources. For example, like in this photo, you have the aquarium in the front and you got the window in the back, and as you can see, the aquarium is like pretty well lit. It's the colors look real, and they really are looking like this in real life, also with cameras without the modification. But in the background, the window is just like purple, and you can't really fix that, or you would have to do more extensive editing to fix that problem, and I don't know if you always want to do that. So that's another thing you should keep in mind when modding your camera. So let's start. First thing you want to do is you want to remove your battery, because it's always better to just remove anything that's full of voltage in there, because you don't want to shorten anything and break it. Second of all, you want to remove this battery lid. I just put it back in, but it's just, you just pull it out like that. And second of all, or third, I don't know, I forgot where I was counting. Never mind, you want to remove also your SD card. And that's pretty much it. You may wait some minutes because there is a capacitor in there which is being charged for flash, and it's always quite a high voltage, and you don't want to shock yourself. Neither you want to shorten it to any other component in there and break anything. So just wait a minute or two, and then you can start off. And there are quite a lot of screws on there, and the better thing about this is, or it's not like an Apple device, you just need to screw heads. First of all, a Phillips screw head and a Torx screw head. But first we will just need the Phillips. The Torx is just used for the sensor, but we will get to that later. Also, you want to use maybe gloves like ESD gloves so that you don't carry on your load and your voltage and your capacitance onto your device and damage any components in there, because they're always kinda sensitive. So let's get to this beautiful device, and as you can see, it's already kinda ripped off here. That's not very nice. The rubber, I don't know, it just went off one day. It wasn't even me, I was borrowing this camera to somebody, and it came back like that. What I did do though is I dropped it, and that's why the screen is broken here. But yeah, that's other things. Let's get to the real interesting part, and that's just opening up this device, and I already did too much. You need to see it in slow, I guess. So let's just put this back in, and we'll just start at the bottom. There's 4 screws here, here, here and here, which you have to loosen. I also put some tape over the serial number because I don't know if anybody can do anything with that, but I don't want to show it, so I just hide it. So put this off, keeping them in a safe place. And yeah, I mean, if there's an earthquake, that's a real pity. But yeah, you should anyway keep it safe as possible. And then you can, if you loosen the screws, you can just pull it off like that. That's easy. And put it aside. Then we got a lot more screws down here. I gotta focus. But you actually just have to remove those 2, and that's it. I mean, if you want to dissolve this camera even more, then you may want to loosen the other screws as well, but we just want to do the astrophotography modification. So those screws down there are removed as well. Now let's get to the back. And there we have those 2 screws up here where the viewfinder is. Usually there's this cover on here, but you can remove that by just pulling it up. And there's 2 screws also here and here. And you also have to remove those 2 screws. And as always, you should kind of know what you're doing, because a camera is a very sensitive device and it's built with kind of a perfection, even though it's a low and more or less device, but still it's very precisely built, especially the sensor and stuff. But yeah. So now it gets kind of nasty, because on the left side we don't have any more screws, but on the right side. And they're hidden below this rubber thing here. So you just pull it off. I already did it once and twice. So you just pull it off. Don't worry, it's kind of hard to pull first. You can also use like anything flat to go below, like this thing right here, like just pulling it up. And then there you have on the back, you have 1 screw. And on the front, you also have to pull this rubber off. It's really nasty. But yeah, that's just what you gotta do. And then you have 2 screws down here. So now we've loosened those screws as well. You can put the rubber back because you don't have to remove it anymore. Or later on you will have to remove it again to screw everything back in place again, but yeah, never mind. So now we're done more or less. And now you can carefully pull the back off. And I mean very carefully, because there's flex cables mounted to the display, to the back, and you don't wanna, you really don't wanna break them off. So you carefully just pull it out, like so. I'm actually quite confused whether I did remove all of the screws, but I think so. It's quite hard to pull it. I don't know why, but there we go. So carefully. So here we are again, because I'm filming with another Nikon, the Nikon D750, and yeah, as you may know, it just turns off the video after 10 minutes. So anyway, there we go. So you can just carefully pull it up, not too much, and then just tilt it like that to the back, and there you can already see the flex cable that is mounted to it, like so. It's quite dark, but like that. So you just have to get a lever like this one and just carefully pull it up and remove this flex cable, and then you can take off the back. And there we go. There we have our display. So if you want to do a display repair or anything like that, that's how you do it. Put it aside, store it carefully, and there we go. So this is the part where the SD card is and the HDMI output. And there we have our sensor with the IR filter below it. And this is the part where the outputs for the microphone, or better said, the inputs for the microphone and the USB input output are. So we need to remove this flex cable, like so. And we need to remove this flex cable down here. So you need just like, for this, you need just like anything very flat. I will try to show it to you. We need some light. And you need to go below this black thing and pull it up. But be very careful, because you may break it off. And this is not something you want to do, to break anything off in here. Yeah, well, yeah, there we go. One side. Trying to keep everything in focus, not very easy. Like so. And there we have it. And then you can also very carefully pull it out of there. I will just use my tweezers for that. But be careful not to break this cable. They're very sensitive. I mean, look at them. They're very small. There are very small conductors in there. You can't really see it, but yeah, never mind. So put it aside. Also store it carefully. And then the next thing we need to do is to take this PCB out. So that means that we have to first disconnect those 2 cables up here. And you do it by just pushing, also carefully. Everything you do in here must be carefully. Just push this out. And this is also a flex cable. You can also push it just out. You don't have to pull a lever or anything. You just push it out. And then we got 2 screws, one here and one here, that you gotta loosen. And people with sharp eyes already noticed that there's a battery which is responsible for the date and time to be stored. So if you do this stuff here and do the removal, you will lose your time in there, but you can set it back. That's no problem. But you won't lose your settings. They are stored on a permanent storage. So put this PCB aside as well, also carefully pulling it out. It's like you just need to pull it backwards a little bit like that and then out. And then we got the sensor next. And for this we need not this Torx head, screw head yet, we need to remove this back plate. This is a shield for the sensor so that not any interferences or anything get to there. And for that, because we need to take off the flex cable here so that we don't rip it off. And to remove this shield, we just need to loosen those 2 screws. And then we need to carefully pull it off because it's still plugged in there more or less. But you will see that in a second. Just unscrew those 2 things and then carefully pulling it up like so. It will be harder for you for the first time you do it because it's plugged in here and here a little bit. Yeah, and then there you have your back of the sensor. Now you have to remove this flex cable as well, carefully as well, as always. And there we go. Just put it outside a little bit, like so. And now we need the Torx head. But before that we have to still unplug one flex cable, and that's this one. I actually don't know what it is for. It's connecting to the IR filter glass. We will see that in a second. I don't even know what it's for. So maybe if anybody does know, he or she may write it down below in the comments. And you just pull it out carefully again. Just pull it out like so. And that's it. Now you need the Torx head, and now we have 3 screws. There, there, and there. Don't loosen one totally, and then the next totally, and then the next totally. Just loosen one after another a little bit always, because there are springs below them. And it wouldn't be too good for the material and the sensor if you like loosen one totally after another. So always just a little bit, trying to show it to you as well as possible, like so. And in the end you have to be carefully, so now not that the sensor comes like jumping at you, that wouldn't be good either. So that's the first screw. You can also use your other hand or finger to push it down a little bit. So that's another screw, and there it goes. That wasn't intended. And the last screw, and there we go. So now you can pull it carefully out, like so. And just put it aside for a second. I will show it to you in a second. But here's the springs, there, there, and there. I can pull out one and show it to you like so. So that's the reason why you may lose your proper focus, because this sensor is mounted to this mounted to the case with a defined force when screwing in the screws. And if you don't have the tools to define this force while screwing in, you will not bring the sensor in the proper position where it belongs to, and you always need like a defined distance between the sensor and the lens. But yeah, that's another topic. So now we can put aside the body, and then we have our sensor here. I will just bring it up a little bit, and there we go. So we actually don't have to care about the back side. If we turn it around, we can see this beautiful thing. Here you have a little rubber thing, and below that, or there, you have the IR filter, and below that you have the sensor. And this is connected to the IR filter glass. And what we are gonna need to do now is not to put off the screw bit, but rather we have to remove now this what it's called in English. It's Blech in German, I don't know. So as you may have noticed, I'm not a native speaker. So this piece of metal we have to remove, and this is mounted back here with those clips there and there, and there and there. So you just carefully, with both hands, pull those out. Watch out that nothing falls down. Like, pull them out, and then you can turn it around and carefully pull it up, like so. And there we go. So like first the piece of metal, then the piece of rubber. And there we have our filter glass. And as well the sensor below. So you can put the sensor aside because you don't need it anymore. Well, you will need it eventually, but not for now. And there we have the filter glass. And as you can see, there's this weird thing connected to here. I really don't have any idea what it's supposed to do. Like, it could be some light measuring or something, but I don't know. But yeah, you can see that it's like blocking the IR light, because infrared light, because it's reflecting it. So the light comes in like that, but the infrared light doesn't go through, so it's reflecting it. It doesn't absorb it, or I guess it doesn't absorb it. I hope so, because it would be a lot of energy. It just reflects it, and so you can see the reflection of this red stuff. So like, it's not a perfect like cut off filter at, I don't know what wavelength it exactly is, like, I don't know, let's say 600 nanometers. It doesn't cut off perfectly, it's just like a fluid transmission. Fluid transmission is not a proper description of that either, but yeah, never mind. So now you can actually just throw it away if you want to, if you're sure that you won't ever need it again. But I'm just keeping it in a safe place. Oh shoot, that wasn't good. Like so. Careful not to scratch it or anything, and then putting it away. And now we just have to build everything back together. So that means we put this rubber thing back in here and put it back onto the sensor, like so. Being also very careful again. that's the part where some dust may get onto the sensor. So you may also have some cleaning tools laying around to clean it off later on. So there we go. Oh no, that's not very smoothly done. Shoot. Just pull it up a little bit, and that's still not very perfect. Jeez. I already had some fun before because I put the IR filter back on it. Because I already removed it before, but to show it to you, I put it back on. But like, I'm just like completely stupid with that now. So what I'm going to do now is just removing the back, the front plate more or less from the sensor. And before doing that, I will just switch the battery of my camera up here. So there we go, we have a new battery in this camera now. And yeah, just reset the timer because I'm always setting a timer so that I know that I have to redo the recording. Or not redo the recording, but press the record button. So we just loosen those 3 Phillips screws from the sensor and removing it from the front plate, lifting it up, trying not to throw it anywhere. And now I'm using anything. You shouldn't put it now directly onto something because it's then the glass of the sensor protection would be directly on laying onto anything, and you don't want to scratch that. So now we got the front plate. I just call it like that. I don't know if it's a correct word for that. And we can put it in here, like so, or anything. I don't even know. Let me see. That's the wrong way around. So this side has to get like that. No, like that. Yeah. And oops. Like so. Just putting it on here. Like so. Looks decent, but I'm not sure. So we'll just put on the sensor. Kind of clean this off. Like so. Checking, that doesn't look good. I don't know. Looks like I'm losing information there up there. I will just redo it. It's not even in focus, you don't see what I'm doing. That's a problem with when working with proper gear, which has a lot of bokeh. You always have to keep in mind that you're losing focus on anything when filming. So there we go, putting it up a little bit as far as possible, and then pushing everything back in, trying out again, always being careful. And that doesn't look better anyway. I think it's fine. Well, I can't push it anymore any further up there. That's like, I will just try once more, and if it doesn't work, I'll just give up. Like so. Last time, last chance. Yeah, that worked totally a lot better. So just push this thing up while mounting it. But I think it's like kind of far right. Well, it's fine. I don't want to do it again. Well, I don't know. I will just do it once again. You want to have a perfect result, more or less. So once again, loosening it, pushing it up so that it just fits in perfectly. I think it's kind of bent now. Oops, don't drop it. Putting in the sensor and then controlling it. Yeah, it's like still not perfect. I think it won't get better. That's fine. Alright, kind of controlling that your sensor is clean. And then you can already put everything back together. So that means take your camera, the body, and then carefully put it back onto the screws. The springs, of course. Kind of mistake by me. And then, oh shoot, I forgot to screw back in the sensor. I could do that. Well, I don't know. I will first mount the whole thing. No, it's a better idea to first mount the sensors so that it doesn't fly around when doing stupid stuff. So take your Phillips screw head again, take those little screws, focusing of course, and then mounting mounting it back again. This is like the second run I do for this video, because before that I forgot all the stuff where to unscrew, and I did too much, and then it was just nasty. So there we go. Now putting it back into the case. Oops, don't like ruin everything. And then now we need the Torx head again. There we go. And then again, one screw after another, just a little bit always. And that's the part where you have to define how much you... Oh shoot, that wasn't smooth. That's the part again where you have to define how much force you put into the screws while tightening them up. But yeah, I don't know either. So like, if there's any Nikon professional watching this video, please tell me how to do it, because I don't know. But they're probably not happy at all in total that I'm doing this, so probably they don't want to help me. Neither you. So just tightening those screws up. You can't see anything again because my hand is in the way. So like just tightening them, not too little but not too much. That's totally not a correct way to do it, but yeah. So putting back on the flex cable, also carefully, like so. There we go. You can also put it back on here. Like there onto this PCB. It doesn't look very well on here because it's kinda bent, but yeah, I think that's not my fault. There we go, another record started. And then we need the RF shield again. So that means the radio frequency, I guess it's a radio frequency shield. So just like to block any noise, potential noise getting into there. So those two screws again. And you can already see on the shield that I screwed up and made a scratch in here, like so beautifully, isn't it? So yeah, you shouldn't do that, but I think that's kind of clear. So now you have this PCB again, the blue PCB, and you carefully put it back in here, and you can watch out that this flex cable is above it, so that you don't have to pull it out again there from down there, and just put it in here like that. First tighten the screws. You can already also mount the cables, but I think it's better to just tighten the screws first, so that this one down below here and the other one down up here, like so. And then you can put those cables back in, like just pushing them in. This one is quite easy, the white one, because it's a big plastic mount, and the other one is not quite easy, not quite that easy, but still it's okay. Just also carefully plug it in again with your tweezers. I hope you have one. If you don't, maybe you shouldn't do the whole process. And now you can take the flex cable again, carefully putting it in and closing the black lid. And there's like two extended parts of this cable. I hope. Well, it's hard to see. I will give my best to explain it to you. I don't even know if it's in focus or not. So like, oh jeez. I think it's focused now. So like there and those two things are kind of extended, so those two things have to be over in between. There's like a spare part in here. I don't know. My English skills are lacking now, but yeah, like those extensions more or less have to be close to this black part, and then you can close the lid just like that. And then it's properly connected. I hope you could understand it. But yeah. So, all out of focus again. There we go again. And now it's almost done. Unbelievable. Just put back on the back plate your display and stuff. Like just lay it down like that. And then connect the flex cable. Like so. Always be careful with it. Yeah, you can't really see it, but I think you can imagine how I'm doing it. I hope so. And then just put everything back together. And that's it. No, that's not really it. We still have to tighten a lot of screws, but it seems like it all went very well. so that you don't forget anything. First of all, this screw back here behind the rubber, and then you can also put this rubber thing back in, which is quite nasty, but yeah, never mind. There we go. Then the next rubber thing, I kinda hate those, because like, yeah, they're glued, and I don't like glue, because glue is always nasty. So this screw, there's 2 screws below the front rubber. And I'm out of frame again. And then you can pull back the front rubber, like so. It's kind of interesting, because there's something mounted here. I can open it up again. There's anything mounted here. Like, I don't even know what it's supposed to do down there. There's like a flex cable running there, and it's like a round thing. I don't know. I almost thought that it was like a microphone, but like the microphone is like up here. So that's kind of weird. And so putting it back, maybe it's like a sensor that recognizes that you're holding the camera. I don't know. It's kind of wonky, but yeah. It doesn't have to bother me. Neither does it have to bother you, except if you want to have it bother you. But yeah, nevertheless, we have 2 screws up here at the viewfinder again. Like so. There we go. 2 screws at the screen. That would be an idea. 2 screens for a camera. That's kind of useless. I mean, the more professional cameras like the D750 do have 2 screens, like the upper screen, like up here, and this here. That's kind of, I don't know. I have it with the D750, but it's like, yeah, I don't know. Sometimes it's useful, sometimes it's just like not very useful, but like, yeah, it's okay. So those 2 screws down there, probably out of focus, yeah. Let me just pull the focus. And then almost the last thing to do, or pretty much the last thing to do, the back, the bottom lid, more or less lid. And that's it. There we go. So let's try it out. Get a beautiful lens, like the Sigma 18-35 1.8, flex, and try it out. Like so. Quite a big thing. Let me just zoom out a little bit, show you a little bit more of the setup here. And yeah, what we of course need as well is a battery. But let me just restart the video in 1 second. So here we are again. Video is working. And now the first time turning it on. Yeah, there we go. There we have our information that the Kamerauhr wurde zurückgesetzt. That means that the time was set back or reset. So we just have to It's just that means 2020, beautiful year. Well, actually it has been one of the best years for me, but yeah, for some people it may not have been the best year. So we have November 29th, 18, and gotta be faster than the clock. 45 in now. All right, there we go. There we have our time again, and everything seems like it works perfectly fine. Didn't give me any error messages or something like that. Putting in an SD card. Come on. There we go. Yeah. And yep, no errors. And now the big question. Will it turn on the sensor? We'll go into live view. There we go. And everything looks beautifully purplish. And that's what you want to have with an IR filter removal. That's it. There we have our Astro modified Nikon D5500. I hope it helped you. If not, well, a pity for you. But yeah, so if this cap wants to tighten up there, I can go on with my video. That's it. I hope it helped you. Yeah, I'm just talking BS again.